Another show ruined by identity politics, or at least that's what a lot of people are thinking when it comes to a new Halo series. Me, this is the way I look at it, and I've made it very clear when I did the episode one review of Halo the series. I'm not a gigantic fan of Halo. I've not played the games very much. I don't know much about anything Halo related. Me personally, I enjoyed when Pablo Schreiber took his helmet off. I thought that was the best part of it. Many people are saying, well, that goes against everything Halo stands for. And again, not speaking as a fan, just speaking as a casual viewer here when it comes to this series. I personally thought that was the best part, not the worst part. But again, if I was a fan of this, if this was again, like I've said before, if this was Wolfenstein, if this was, Borderlands, Assassin's Creed, or something along those lines, those game titles, and they did something like that, I'd be really pissed too. Be really pissed. So I totally actually understand that aspect, and I will always side on the side of the fans when it comes to this. But when you talk about a television show being ruined by identity politics, I kind of feel like maybe in this one instance that's completely and totally wrong. Because there's a lot of things that is really bad about this show. Really is. I'm not gonna say that overall it was terrible. It wasn't. I was entertained somewhat all the way through. I never found myself being like, "Oh, this person again." I thought a lot of the female characters that was on the show was a little bit boring, and I was very clear when it come to that. I don't really like the idea that they kind of take Master Chief, and they kind of sideline him. And I hear that's only going to get worse uh, over the course of this series. But what I will say actually ruined this series, and it ruins every series, is the fact that the people who make the shows do not ask the fans what they want. Halo, according, and again, not a fan, but what I've got from fans is this is completely different than anything that Halo represents. Completely different. And if that's the case, well, you know what? Maybe before, like the directors of that show actually said, well, we never, we want to do something completely different than the games. Well, if you wanted to do something completely different to the games, maybe do a different franchise. You get what I mean? Like, I feel like if you want to do a beloved franchise over anything, maybe just take the time to actually, I don't know, play the games, read the books, do something along those lines. Because anytime that you're dealing with anything that has a fan base, you are always going to upset that fan base. That fan base is your core audience. And if those core audiences don't pay attention to it, you're not going to be able to find enough fans outside of that core audience. So, you know what? The very first thing you need to do, directors, producers, studios, any of y'all, what y'all need to do, the very first thing that y'all need to do is maybe talk to the fans, ask them what they want to see, ask them who they think would be good in roles, what kind of storylines would they like to be promoted. But Hollywood doesn't want to do that because they're afraid of the answer to it. They're not. They want to create a story. They want to use popular, whether it be books or games or whatever, these popular franchises, but they don't want to use anything that is in those. They just want the name of it. They just want the title of it. It's what we're going through a lot with Lord of the Rings right now. With the series there is they just want Lord of the Rings title. They don't want anything inside of it, basically. That is always going to be a model for just failure all the way around. Hollywood, unfortunately, feels like that's the only option that they got because the only way that they can actually present their narratives that they want to put out is to change everything about anything that people love about these series. Now, again, you can say identity politics, has damaged this series, and that might very well be the case. I feel like anytime that you promote someone that's not in the canon, and then you make them the main character of a show over one that is normally the protagonist of it. I think that's, whether it's male or female, is always going to be a problem because fans are not going to like that, especially if it's a very popular character. I don't want to watch a Superman film and then have, I don't know, Supergirl or some person that they just met just completely and totally take over this franchise. Somebody that's not even in DC Comics. I don't want that. I wouldn't watch that. No one would watch that. So you know what? This is the way I look at it, Paramount. If you really wanted to do something good, you really should have asked the fans. They didn't do that because, again, like the points that I just made, they don't care what the actual fans have to say. They are scared that the fans will not let them promote the narratives that they want to promote. And that upsets them. At the end of the day, a lot of these people that make these shows like this, they really hate the people that are fans of the titles that they want to produce or direct. And that's really a shame. You hear a lot about people being fans. I mean, does anybody want to go down the Kevin Smith He-Man route? Where he's like, "Oh yeah, I've never actually liked He-Man," and then he turns around and I love He-Man, and then he completely and totally wrecks He-Man. That's what you get with a lot of these people, and to me, it's just a recipe for disaster. Uh, it's only going to ruin these franchises, and that's, I think, at the end of the day, what Hollywood is all about. It's about ruining franchises. It's about ruining franchises and scaring away the initial fans so that they can then bring it back from the ashes with a new group of fans. And those are fans that they find on Twitter. Those are fans that, of course, like we've seen in Batwoman, that do not usually tune in to the things that they're complaining about and wanting to see on Twitter. Uh, Not a good fan base to really be seeking out. If I was really one that really wanted to make money and I worked in Hollywood, I would not give 2 cents what someone was clamoring about on Twitter. I would be looking at these franchises, and I would be doing, the first thing I would do is polls between going into these fan bases of what you would want to see, and the narratives you would want to promote, the characters you would want to see more of. I would go that route. Of course, I would be in the minority when it comes to Hollywood directors and studios and so forth, and that's the shame. That's the reason why everything sucks. But anyways, I've said my 2 cents about this. Like I said, we can talk about identity politics. That's the phrase of the day. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot wrong with this series that is way, way beyond identity politics. I think, the way the characters look, kind of, where the way what are they called? Spartans look, they look kind of stupid. They really, truly do. The background looks like it's staged. Nothing looks good about this series. It really doesn't. The acting, I thought, was subpar. Subpar acting. It's like something that you would see in like some kind of, I don't know. I won't even say like a Hallmark Channel movie because even they make better stuff than what even this is. But anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. And as always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content here on Rants or Us, please like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. Check us out on Rumble and Minds as well. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.